What a stunning room.
Yeah, this is the Van Dyck room.
At his home in Antwerp, Rubens had a clutch of apprentices. One was good at landscapes, another at clothes. But the best at faces was an artist called Anthony van Dyck.
How did Van Dyck come to be working in England and with Charles?
Basically, Charles I needed to get the best painter, and he was prepared to pay very generously. And if you asked the absolute elite at Europe at this time, they would have said that Van Dyck is the best. And Charles I finally got him. It's a bit like, you know, a Premiership club that just has this idea it wants a star and is just going to look for the right moment.
What was it that was unique about the way in which he painted Charles?
Most artists at this date were quite mechanical in their executions. And Van Dyck had this way of just suggesting it. He conveys all the richness of that detail, so it feels all sumptuous, but it's very, very sketchily and freely painted. So it has a kind of spontaneity and brilliance about it.
The lighting's fantastic, particularly on the hand.
Yes, and that's partly done by the hand against the background, which is much darker, but also much more thinly painted, so you can see the underpaint showing through it. And the hand also shows these areas of very beautiful drawing. It's got that lovely kind of gentle sweep to it, shape to it. He was a very fine draftsman.
The rumour is, Charles, he was about my height, which is 5'4", but he looks grand and athletic in that picture.
Yeah, that's what you're paying for when you get a portrait painter. And the best way of doing that is just to get a low viewpoint so you're looking up at the figure.
So do you think he transformed him from a king to an icon?
Exactly. It's a brilliant style of painting, but it also kind of suggests a brilliant style of kingship. It's like the king doesn't have to try too hard.
A delighted Charles anointed Van Dyck official court painter in 1632. He was knighted and paid £200 a year, twice as much as any other artist. Charles set him to work on his young family.
This, I think, is a royal image which is intended for the king and queen themselves, so it's like a family image. And what's very clever is that it's got all that majesty and dignity that you would associate with a royal portrait, but it's also got a kind of comedy and a slight undermining of that effect. So you can see that the eldest prince, Charles, who will become Charles II, is, you know, very imposing. He's got a bit of the Henry VIII look. He's definitely a prince. But there's just enough for us to see these are just children. Particularly, there's a very unruly baby that's not going to keep still and shut up for the portrait sitting. And I think the cleverest thing is this huge dog. It's a mastiff dog. It is quite funny the way it's all kind of scrunched up like that. And we can see that if it got up, it would just send all these children scattering all over the place.
Apart from him, he looks like he's got the strength to hold that animal down.
Yeah, he's got that thing that children do, and they push their hand all over the eyes of the dog. And,
yeah, he's dominating the dog.
Yeah. And there's a sort of play between the great big manly heroic dog belonging to the heir to the throne and the little sort of friendly weedy spaniel. It's completely wonderful, isn't it? It's all kind of soft and furry. It's got these lovely foldy bits.
The costumes are impressive in this one, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean that lovely gloss on the silk.
This is the ultimate family portrait.
Yeah. This doesn't look like any other portrait. It's a one-off.